I'm sure you've seen one of these before. The Rode Blimp. Maybe you're new to audio, saw behind the scenes photos and thought it was just a really big microphone. It's not. It's a warm coat for your microphone for those windy days. Well, more like a windbreaker. But we'll get into that plus all the nerdy stuff coming right up. So, good day and welcome to the Time Preservation Society. I'm Dark Helmet. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell notification so you can be notified of new content right when it drops. Cheers. Today we're looking at the Rode Blimp. This guy right here. It's massive. And it's not as cheap as you might wish it to be. But does it work? Yep. Blimps have been around since 1969, I think. It's very hard to find some audio history information. Harder than you'd think. From what I could find, John Gossard created the first windshield system in the form of a blimp in 1969 for use on film sets and electronic news gathering. He then launched a company called Rycote to sell his design. Mics are notoriously bad with moving air. They don't like it. Many wonderful scene takes and other recordings have been ruined by the slightest gusts of air, and this had been happening for years. Some solutions were devised throughout the early years of talkies, but they were heavy and cumbersome, and not very practical. They also didn't always work very well. So for this reason and other reasons, sound stages were sometimes used to film movies, even for outdoor scenes. Wind was a big problem. It still is, but it was before because they didn't have blimps. You can see here that on the set of Gone with the Wind, some scenes showing the outside were actually filmed inside in a really big room called a soundstage. That's me working on the crew back in 1939. I'm showing the talent where the craft services table is. They were hungry. So wind was a big problem. The solution was simple. Cover the mic, but do so in a way that doesn't totally muffle the sound and make it light and portable. There have been many iterations of windshields for mics, but the Blimp was the very best design for many reasons. A Blimp is not just a windsock or muff that goes over the mic. It's an entire housing system that creates a space of dead air inside. It's the total maximum protection for microphones. You cannot get a better system for a shotgun mic than a Blimp, but they're not perfect. No blimps are. They're amazing, but you can't use them in a massive windstorm and not get a few gusts that'll somehow break through. You just have to be smart about it. They're called blimps because, well, they're also called Zeppelins. See the trend here? Rode jumped on the Blimp wagon when they released their first version of the Rode Blimp in 2008, which was The Dark Knight and Step Brothers ago. Their first design won some awards, but it had a few issues, namely weight and a fidgety shock mount system. They have since improved their original design by employing none other than Rycote themselves to create the shock mount system, along with a few other things. Let's have a look at it so I can better explain how this works. The Rode Blimp is a beautiful and massive piece of gear. It features a pistol grip which easily attaches to a boom pole but can also be handheld for sound effect capturing or the like. Mogami wiring is found throughout the grip, which is literally top of the line as far as audio cables go. The wiring terminates in a male XLR connector for easy plugging in. The Blimp itself is like a plastic grid with a thin nylon material, like pantyhose, in between the holes. When you unscrew the back part here and then unscrew these two fasteners, the large Blimp part just slides right off. Inside, you'll find the guts of this thing. The Rycote lyre mounting system is here. These two cradles here are made of thermoplastic and are superior to traditional elastic solutions. They will never wear out or sag or break. The system is designed to take a whole range of shotgun or pencil microphones by just snapping the mics into place. You can slide the grip up and down the length of the lyre holder in order to accommodate various mic lengths. If you so choose, you can also reposition the lyre mounts themselves. I think they're fine where they are for my purposes. At the back, you'll see an XLR connector ready to plug into the mic. This flexible thin wire leads to a little junction box thing which is clamped in place, and then out of the Blimp housing and down into the Mogami cable in the handle and out to the XLR at the bottom of the handle. Let's place a mic in here. Here I'm putting a Sennheiser MKH 416 shotgun mic into the lyre suspension system. Then I plug the XLR in, and voila. Now we slide the blimp back on and screw everything back together. And that's the completed blimp. This is the first of 2 levels of wind protection. The last level of wind protection is a fur coat. Here's the dead wombat. No, it's not a real dead wombat, silly. It's a large faux fur coat that zips up around the entire blimp for maximum wind protection. I'll say that it's very hard to get this wombat stretched over the blimp, but it's not impossible. I think it's getting more loose with more use. And there's your completed blimp. The Rode Blimp weighs 550 grams, that's just over a pound, which is heavier than some other blimps on the market. It might not seem like a big deal now, but if you're on set booming some long takes from a distance away, ounces will turn into pounds very quickly. Still, it's not the heaviest blimp out there. It measures, oh, hold on a second, let me just find my trusty old measuring tape here. You know, this tape was manufactured in 1947. I picked it up at a dirty prison called Shawshank in '94. Anyway, without the dead wombat on it, it measures around 19 inches long and 5 inches in diameter. So let's test it out. Okay, hold on a sec, wait a sec. I had to wait for a nice breezy day to give this a try on camera, but none came. It was so incredibly still for this entire week that instead we mostly had heavy fog out here at Mythlore Point. So here's some older footage of me testing it out during a massive windstorm. I took this on my phone about 3 years ago. No one would actually shoot anything in these conditions unless you mean to shoot in these conditions. So here's these conditions. Just testing out the Rode Blimp. I've got a Deity S-Mic 2 in here. I'm running it into sound devices. MixPre 3 Mark II. And it's a windy day. 60 km/h winds in gusts that are supposed to get up to 120 kilometers today. Whoa, that was a good one. So let's see what this sounds like. All right, this seems like a pretty good test. That's big gusts. Oh boy. There's not much testing I can do with this review since it's only designed to do one thing. So let's talk about price. Blimps are all expensive, and if you're new to audio and are just now looking to buy a blimp since it's become apparent that you need one, you'll be unpleasantly shocked to find out that they're not cheap, not even the Rode Blimp. You can pick up the Rode Blimp right now for about $300 US. Can you find cheaper ones? Yes. There are a few that are half the price but suck a great deal. When I say suck, I don't mean just that they're not great in the wind. I mean that the handles often break on them, or the mounting system is subpar or too bouncy, or the internal wiring is of the cheapest quality, and no matter how expensive your mic or cabling is, the weak point is at your blimp. Can you get away with cheaper ones? Sure. But they're not dependable, just so you know. Audio is expensive. Good audio is, anyway. And if you're going to spend $1,000 or more on a good mic, doesn't it make sense to just spend that little extra on the blimp? I realize that buying a blimp gets even harder when the mic you're protecting is cheaper or around the same price as the blimp. It feels somehow wrong. But I assure you, it's worth it if you're looking to get the very best sound outdoors that you possibly can. As they say, buy once, cry once. There are great blimps or Zeppelins made by Rycote and other great companies as well, but the Rode Blimp can definitely compete with all of them. Analysis? I do like the Rode Blimp. It's a quality item and it's going to last you a lifetime. It's not the lightest blimp out there, but it's fully functional and does exactly what it's supposed to do. Do I recommend the Rode Blimp? Yes, I do. They're much easier to get your hands on than some others on the market. Rode seems to be everywhere, so you'll be able to find one easier. Other than the slightly heavier weight than premium blimps, this works just as good as every other one of them. Some of the prices for more premium blimps are up to and greater than $1,000 for a Sennheiser blimp, say, or $500 for some Rycote blimps, and others are even more expensive. The Sennheisers are upwards of $1,000 or sometimes twice that. Those blimps are notably lighter, but the price? Good gracious love a duck. Suddenly, $300 for a good quality blimp isn't so bad. I'll note that you can also make the Rode Blimp lighter on a boom pole by removing the pistol grip and attaching a $13 adapter so that it can attach directly to the pole. This removes the heaviest part of the blimp and makes it lighter by a considerable amount. If you think blimps are expensive, just wait until you check out the prices of microphones. So yes, get the Rode Blimp. It's your best bet for the money. If you have lots more money to spend, then go to Rycote or any other high-end ones like Sennheiser. And that's that. Blimp. So, Lone Star, now you see that evil will always triumph, because good is dumb. Bye now. In transmission. Blimp, 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 blimp. Do you ever say a word so many times that it becomes meaningless? Blimp.